Good day, we are Group 5 and we are here to discuss the Chapter 8, Human Resource Management in the Philippine Public Administration.
The Silban Service. Ang requirements of selection ay mahalagang personal na pagtanggap ng mga bagong employee na gobyerno. Tinitiyak na ito ay ang bawat applicant ay dumaraan sa pataas na sistematiko na at makaturingang paraan sa pagpili ng kasama rito. Ang paghahanap ng mga applicant position ay pangtanggap ng application, pagsusulit, panayam at evaluation. Screening. Ang screening ay mahalagang bahagi ng proseso ng pagtanggap ng trabaho. Sa pamamagitan nito ay masusing sinusuri ang bawat applicant kung siya ba ay karapat-dapat na sa posisyon. Titignan dito ang kanilang qualifications na nakaranas na education at iba't pang kaugnay na information. Screening of selection and qualified personality. Screening for interview. Ang screening per interview ay isang paunawang hakbang kung saan sinusuri ang kumpanya ng mga applicant na mukhang akma o qualified para sa posisyon ng batay sa kanilang ipinasang requirements. Screen selection of qualified personnel. Screen-free interview. Ang screen-free interview ay isang paunang hakbang kung saan sinusuri ang kampanya ng mga applicant na mukhang akma o kwalipikado para sa posisyon ng batay sa kanilang ipinasang resume. At application sa hakbang na ito ay titignan kung sino ang dapat imbitahan para sa mas formal na at mas detalyadong pananaw.
Good afternoon everyone. Today I will be sharing with you the topic about Strategic Performance Management System or SPMS and the Performance-Based Incentive System or PBIS in the Philippine Public Administration. Starting with the Strategic Performance Management System or SPMS. It was implemented by the Civil Service Commission or CSC, and its goal is to align the performance of individual employees with the goals of their agency or organization. In other words, SPMS helps ensure that each employee contributes to the overall success of their office or department. SPMS has 4 main components, starting with the goal setting and planning. So employees set clear targets and action plans. Second is monitoring and coaching. And then supervisors regularly track progress and provide guidance. Third is performance review and evaluation. Employee performance is assessed and rated. And then lastly, rewards and development. High-performing employees receive recognition and development opportunities. SPMS promotes accountability, continuous improvement, and result-based performance in government service. Moving on to the Performance-Based Incentive System or PBIS. PBIS was established under Executive Order No. 80 and it aims to reward good performance and rationalize the bonus system in the public sector. And it has also 2 components, which is performance-based bonus or PBB given to employees who meet or exceed their performance targets. The second one is Productivity Enhancement Incentive or PEI, given yearly to all qualified government employees. PBIS encourages efficiency, accountability, and improved public service delivery by rewarding hard work and dedication. Let me give you an example to make it clearer. Now, imagine I work at Business Permits Office in the City Hall, and at the beginning of the year, I set my goals using the SPMS. For example, I am aiming to process 100 business permits each month and respond to citizen inquiries within a day. My supervisors monitors my work and gives me coaching when I need it. At the end of the year, my performance is reviewed because I successfully met my goals. I receive a high performance rating. And as a result, I am awarded a performance-based bonus and a productivity incentive or PBB and PEI. I also received a certificate of recognition from my supervisor. This example shows how SPMS helped me stay focused and perform well, while PBIS rewards me for my achievements, motivating me to continue serving to the public effectively. In summary, SPMS and PBIS are essential systems that help improve performance, promote accountability, and recognize the hard work of government employees. These systems not only improve public service but also motivate employees to do their best. That will be all. Thank you.
Good day, my name is Marie Gamyal from BPA 1B, and now let's proceed to labor relations. Labor relations, it is the study and the practice of dealing with situations involving unionized employees. It involves knowing how to deal with disagreements or problems between employees and management, negotiate contracts, and cooperate with unions. So, para mas maintindihan ng lahat, ang labor relations ay isang sistema na kung saan ang mga manggagawa, trabahador, ay knowledgeable enough to know their rights. Kasi for example, in some scenarios, kapag ang mga employees, ang mga manggagawa ay naaabuso at wala ito sa kontrata nila, they can file and pwedeng managot ang mga kanilang employers. So here are some examples of labor relations. Number one is unionization. It is an organization established to represent employees' goals when negotiating contracts with employers over pay, benefits, and working condition. So sa unionization, dito na nagsasama-sama yung mga employees para nang sa ganon ay magkaroon sila ng power to fight against their employer. Magne-negotiate sila, and pag-uusapan nila dito yung mga unfair treatments na nararanasan nila under their employers. So examples na ito, syempre yung mga benefits na hindi makatarungan, yung mga pay, yung mga overtime nila na hindi naman nababayaran. Next is collective bargaining agreements or CBA. CBA, or the process of negotiating between a union and an employer. So dito na nagkakaroon ng agreement or negotiation ang both parties, na kung saan magkakaroon ulit sila ng kontrata na dapat agree na ng dalawang panig. So next is dispute resolution. A dispute happens when an employer and employees cannot agree on the terms and conditions of employment. So kung sa CBA or collective bargaining agreements ay nagkakasundo pa ang dalawang panig, sa dispute resolution ay hindi na.
Good day, I am Leigh Urbano from BPA 1B, and I will be discussing public sector union. So, what is a public sector union? It is a group of employees of government who work collectively to promote and advance their interests. Sa public sector union ay nagsasama-sama ang mga empleyado ng gobyerno at tumutulong sa paggawa, pagpapatupad at pagpamonitor ng mga polisiya. Ang public sector union ay nagsisilbi na tagapantay ng publiko as they help prevent corruption and ensure accountability. An example of this is Courage, which is one of the largest public sector unions here in the Philippines. Courage, or Confederation for Unity, Recognition, and Advancement of Government Employees, pushes for good governance and accountability. A great example of what the purpose of public sector union is. They also are a driver of change, working to improve how public services are delivered, and is a representative in negotiations, advocating for better work conditions, especially in areas not covered by law. So, sino-sino nga ba mga pwedeng sumali sa public sector unions? Only rank and file employees are eligible to join. Bawal sumali yung mga leader or yung mga gumagawa ng policies. Yung mga contractual naman, they can't form their own, pero they can still join. Bawal din sumali yung mga nasa state security tulad na mga sundalo, mga police, bumbero, prison guards, and that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Lerlyn Embrias and today I'm going to tackle employee well-being and workplace culture. Employee well-being refers to the overall mental, emotional, physical, and social health of employees in the workplace. It involves creating policies and practices that support work-life balance, stress management, healthcare, fair compensation, and opportunities for career growth. Employee well-being and workplace culture focus on how supportive workplace culture, especially on that promotes health, affects employees. Emotional well-being, it draws insights from a large study published in the International Journal of Environmental Research and Public Health. Workplace culture is the environment, values, and shared beliefs within an organization. It affects how employees interact, how decisions are made, and how work is done. A positive workplace culture leads to motivated, productive, and loyal public servant. Your workplace is life, breathing entity. Think of it as extension of your home. The very air of workplace culture refers to the environment values that are important to everyone, and the physical system of beliefs that the team has adopted. This culture subtly influence how you interact with your coworkers, how important decisions are made, and even how everyone works together on a regular basis. Understanding workplace culture of health. Workplace culture of health refers to how a company's environment physically and socially influence employees' health, behaviors, and attitudes. Elements such as leadership support, workplace policies, and interpersonal relationship play a key role in shaping this culture. Study overview. The study overviews 6,235 employees across 16 organizations in the US using a validated tool called Workplace Culture of Health or COH scale. Researchers collected data on emotional well-being, including stress, depression, and employee engagement. Key findings. Employees in organizations with high COH scores show more engagement and less stress and depression. These positive outcomes remain significant even after accounting for age, gender, job roles, and health conditions, showing the independent value of workplace culture. Job class and gender differences. Supervisors were found to be more engaged and reported less stress and depression than other staffs, suggesting job roles influence emotional health. Gender differences in stress also appeared indicating the need for tailored wellness program. Implication for Philippine public administration. Applying this finding locally, public sector's leaders in the Philippines should promote health-focused leadership and wellness initiatives. Strategies must be inclusive, recognizing the unique